Hello, this is the man that fell down the stairs. And he broke both of his knees.
My big break was my knees. My name is Vino, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about my knees and how I broke them. But it was actually my first ever theater gig, Off-Broadway, legit, paid, and somehow I managed to break my knees before the curtain even dropped. So buckle up for the story, unlike my knees. Like, subscribe. Let's go, let's go outside. I'm tired of being inside. So it was 7 years ago, actually, on the street, this is 42nd, where I landed my first Off-Broadway gig. And, you know, it was big stuff. Fancy, right? The play was called Enemy of the People, but it was actually an adaptation called Public Enemy by Hal Brooks. And I was ready. I had the lines memorized, rehearsed. It was a small role. I was the main lead son. But nonetheless, still, I was excited and I rehearsed. I was so ready for this. And I don't know why, but I thought I was gonna be like some Broadway, star for some reason. But you know what? It was down the street, so let's actually go ahead and look at the theater down over there. So let's go.
Saying shit, I hate these rappers. Immature, 8 week rappers.
So I didn't know this, but this is what it used to look like, and I guess I didn't know, but I just learned that the theater went bankrupt. So, learned something new. But anyways, back to the story. So it's a matinee, and I'm supposed to start off the third act by coming from behind the audience. Sounds simple enough, right? I don't know what the hell happened because, my adrenaline's going. I'm pumped to start the act. And I start to go down the stairs, and I don't know what the hell happened. My knees just buckles from straight underneath me, and I just knees first onto that metal trim of those stairs, just hit those, and it was lights out. My knees just popped, and I was like, wow, that really hurt. Then I tried to stand up again. Legs just felt like old gum being pulled apart, and I just collapsed again, looking like a Family Guy doll. Or a person just origami even. But yeah, that was not fun. that was not fun. And nobody knew what was going on because I was supposed to start the act and it's just dark and nothing's happening. Eventually the lights come up, everyone's looking around and they just see me on the floor just done. They eventually call the ambulance, they put me on a stretcher. And everyone's just clapping like I won a Tony. And I was just so embarrassed. It was the worst. Getting carried out like that. But it happened and there's nothing I could do about it. So that's that. And oh my gosh, this old lady. She was just like, I paid $70 for this. Sorry you had to use your Groupon. All right. And you know what the crazy part is? When they asked her to move, she was like, I can't, he's in the way. My legs are broken, I can't move. I get into the ambulance and then we start driving, or at least attempt to, because this block is just packed. This is where the EMTs were stuck when they picked me up, so I was just sitting in the ambulance just dying, just absolutely dying. Waiting for some type of painkillers because this traffic was awful and we were not going anywhere. But I remember these guys told me, they were like, you're gonna be that guy. I'm like, that guy for what? Like, the guy that broke his knees on Broadway. I'm like, it's off Broadway, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh, don't remind me. They ended up giving me some morphine and I'm flying high. I told them, I'm like, listen, I know you guys are trying to go by the chart of size, but I'm like, I'm gonna need a lot more than whatever you guys are gonna give me. Whatever recommended, because I have high tolerance. Let's just say they ended up giving me a much bigger dose than I should have had. But I felt amazing after that. No issues with pain at all. You know what? I'm just going to take you guys with me. We're going to go check out the hospital where I was laid up and got cut open. So, let's do it. So I went to Whole Foods, stopped by and got some really quick sushi. And then I realized I didn't even have chopsticks, and my hands were filthy just from being outside, so we're going caveman style. I remember when we got here, the doctors had to cut off my pants in order to assess the damage, and I just remember asking them to please not cut off my pants because I loved them so much at the time. They were green and pleated, and I haven't seen any pants like that at all. But anyways, they cut them off, which was a bummer. And I remember we did the x-rays and everything. And then they come back, they're like, Mr. Bino, unfortunately, you have 2 fractured patellas. And in my head, I'm like, fractured? Okay, that's nothing. Little crack. We'll be out of here no time. He looked at me and he was like, no, they're fractured means they're broken. You're not walking anywhere for a while. I just remember my face. Ah! What do you mean I'm not walking? Oh God, and then my knees were so swollen and I had to wait like another week to come back to get surgery. Then we do the surgery, and man, I'm gonna tell you, waking up after surgery versus any pain is the absolute worst. It sucks. Like, I felt like I was just cut. Well, I was cut up, but I felt like literally somebody just put me like in a meat grinder. Anyways, so that happens, and then they put me in these Forrest Gump like little leg braces, and I had to wear those for like 6 months straight. That was also, that sucked, but they also had like these little turny knob things where I had to like bend my leg try to bend it every now and then. Because with joints, unless you start moving them, you lose that mobility. Friggin' sucks. But I remember even all of that, the absolute worst part of everything was the PT, the physical therapy. Oh my gosh. Bless my physical therapist. She was a trooper because I was cussing her out. I was calling her a demon. She was working me. But that's what you gotta do at that point. And I gotta tell you, those 6 months, even with physical therapy and leading up to it, man, I was so bored. I have never watched so much Netflix in my life. I still don't even watch Netflix after that because I think I watched absolutely everything. Oh yeah, so the months go by. Eventually, I get to the point where I don't have to wear the braces anymore. And I gotta tell you, when I was finally able to walk without the braces, I immediately took them off and threw them in the garbage. I didn't want to see them again at all. Ah! I fucking look. It was a long way to recovery, but I'm happy it all happened when I was young because luckily the knees are, they're working. Well, the bike isn't because it's plugged in, but it was one of the worst times ever, but it really taught me how strong I really am and to really be careful on stairs. All in all, I healed up pretty freaking well. The knees, they feel pretty good. I mean, every now and then, they feel squeaky. Somebody would put some WD-40 on it, but I'd take that than what I was before. So now I just got 18 gauge wire and screws in my knees. Honestly, don't even really feel them anymore at this point, but I forgot to tell you, during this time, I broke my arm thinking that I didn't need help. So I'm 3 limbs down, just my left arm. That freaking sucked, but you know what? I ended up breaking that too. But that's a different story for another time. But like and subscribe, guys. Don't do what I did, break a leg. Not literally, because I did. Twice. Once. I don't know. Anyways, guys, the story's not finished. Next time, I'm thinking about maybe eating some ramen. Thinking about a big bowl of ramen. So, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Except for David. Well, David is doing the mannequin challenge in real life.
Fuck you.
Legs been stiff as shit for some days now.